The London Underground. Worst and hottest underground tube stations in London. Around 2 million people use the London Underground tube station every day. That is absolutely massive. It is the world's first train service operating underground and the longest metro system in Europe. Alright, some interesting facts about that. If you ask a lot of Londoners, what is the worst station in London Underground system? A lot of people will say Clapham North and Clapham Common, for the simple reason that it has an island platform. So you're in the middle and you have trains going both ways in both directions, and people think it is just a quirky design and it puts a lot of pressure on people, especially during rush hour, and it is potentially dangerous if overcrowding pushes you onto the tracks. That is not good. So a lot of people complain about that. So there are two things people complain especially about this underground system in London. Yeah, first of all, that it's hot during summer, and then that some stations are just worse than others, especially during peak hours. And let's talk about that. For example, it says the London hottest train station is the Victoria Line, and it's known for its high temperature, often exceeding 31 degrees during the summer months. And the reason why a lot of Londoners are particularly shocked about this is that 31 degrees in London is not one of those tropical islands where you go in your bikini to have a good time. No, it is just people are used to just bad weather, being cold. That's why a lot of British or Londoners will travel overseas, Turkey, Spain, south of France, all these nice locations for their holidays. No one really wants to stay in the cold all year round. That's it. When they then finally get on the ground and it's very hot and they're like 31 degrees, that's a bit too much. Alright, they're not used to it. And then you have the Central Line. So that's it. If you're wondering why it is often so hot on those lines, multiple reasons. It says train brakes. Around 38% of the heat comes from braking loss. So you have a lot of 2 million people traveling every day, trains going up and down. It generates a lot of friction, and then it causes a lot of heat. And then you have mechanical and drive losses, heat generated by the train's machinery, electrical systems, because you need to power that much trains on the ground, and that is just the way things are. And then you have, well, it is summer, you have heat generated by body heat of passengers. When you have a lot of people all packed up into the tube, it is bound to generate a lot of heat. And then you don't want to see, well, talk about body odor as well. That's it's just the way things are. You pack a lot of people in there, it's just going to generate a lot of heat, and the type of heat you probably don't want. So that's one for the road. So someone says, I live literally across the road from the area. That is talking about Clapham Common and then Clapham North. It says, and I would still walk to Stockwell or catch the bus instead. Clapham North trains were packed by the time it reached the station, and it was faster walking to Stockwell and getting on there, and rather than waiting my turn to try and squeeze in. And if you look at the distance, this is the graph here, the map. So you have Clapham North here, and so if you live here in say in Clapham North, and you could probably just get a train there. The problem is that by the time it gets there, it's just packed. So people would just take the 12 minutes walk from where they live, go to Stockwell, take the train there, and then at least they're inside by the time it gets to Clapham North. Yeah, that is one thing, and that is how some people get around that, and that is why they said Clapham North is probably one of the worst stations, tube stations in the London Underground system. And then another one says, when I first moved to London, I used to live right next to Clapham North station, and I always walked to Brixton Stockwell to get a seat on the Victoria Line instead. And another one, I'm based by Clapham Common, and it is worse. And now I will take the tube south to Balham and then change onto the northbound. So basically, you're wasting time, but some people just think, yes, it's just better to do it that way. The only way is to spend time going backwards to Tooting first. Even Balham is crowded like hell. It seems that people then discovered, oh, let me go backwards to Balham, and everyone started doing it, and guess what, Balham started to get congested as well, and then someone's like, you need to go Tooted. So basically you're going the wrong way to get a seat and then go back the right way. It is absolutely crazy. Another comment said, Northern Line beyond Balham really is you're not sitting down on bad days, so most weekdays, some weekends, it's good luck, suckers. That is true. A lot of rush hour is just not fun, and most people, especially if if you're living in Balham or Clapham, you're far from the city, and most of the jobs are closer to zone 1 and 2, so you need to take public transport or bus and then find your way down to work every day. Now, another comment says, the real problem is not enough trains and not enough lines. We just need to build, which is a very important comment. So here is the map of what people are doing. If you look at here, that is Balham Station, and you're south of the river, and you need to go all the way back to the city. So you get closer to the city. That's where the jobs are, and most people at night after the work, they go the other way back south, or people if you live in the east or the west. Basically everyone's traveling from all around London going into the center, because that's what you do if you have a job. If you don't have a job, you don't really care about the tube station. You can wake up at 10 o'clock and then just waddle your way around the city like most tourists do. Anyway, so the problem here is that they are not building enough. London is getting bigger. More people are coming into the city. A lot of people are moving out as well, but more people are coming into the city, and that means you have bigger population and you need to build, but they're not building fast enough. They've improved the lines. The London bus system is pretty good. You get buses every 10 minutes or 15 minutes. It's pretty good, but the problem here is that it's still just not enough. Let's move on. Another comment about why the train system and the underground system is really bad is that people lazy stand at the nearest entry point. And you can understand this if you need to get out. Most of the time, I think you have, I don't know, if you have maybe 20 seconds once you get to a station, the door opens, you need to get out, people need to get in, and the doors close, and then it leaves. So the further in you are, you need to push your way out to get out before you miss your stop, and that a lot of people don't want to do that. So when they step into the train, they stand on the side next to the door, and then it means it prevents people getting in and coming out. So anyway, you see, people are not happy about that. And another one says people not removing backpacks at busy times. Yes, because then it takes more space. Yeah, it's people are not being considerate, basically, and that's what people complain about. So that's why it's very hard. Now, that said, that is for people going to and from work, living in London. And then you have train stations or tube stations like Oxford Circus for its high passenger volume because, well, tourism. And then you have King's Cross, St. Pancras. These are mostly international, especially if you're taking the, what's it called, the Eurotunnel and all these high-speed trains. You live in the country and you don't want to come back. That's why those ones are busy. And then you have like Waterloo, another busy station, Victoria Station, Paddington, a busy station for people coming from West London and beyond. And then you have Liverpool Street, a major hub for commuters from Essex and East London. Stratford, especially busy with the addition of Elizabeth Line, London Bridge, interchange, Tottenham Court Road recently became busier with the addition of the Elizabeth Line. So we often talk about Londoners. A lot of people actually come from outside London to get into the city. Yeah, I know it's probably a commute of an hour, 2 hours, but that's what you do. And you pay the price so that you can have a more laid-back life, or probably pay less rent when you live outside of London or further away from the center. Anyway, so that's the story about the worst and the hottest underground tube stations in London.